This is Ling Chi, brush painting for beginners. And today we're going to do an iris on the semi-size Xuan, which is a warm-up to our coming up Friday virtual session. If you have never been joining us for our virtual session, please email us or call us to find out how do you qualify and how to get involved, because it's probably one of the very valuable seminar group, because it's a two-way conversation and you can see what we are doing, and then we have slideshows as well as live demos, but then at the same time you can show us what you're doing with us or raise any question you have. So these YouTube demos, it's just, you don't have immediate interaction with each other. So anyway, said and done, we are using the semi-size strand here, and you can also use size strand. So the technique will not work on the raw strand. So make sure that the paper you're working has sizing in there. The color I'm going to use the Kuretake set for the flower, and I have some green pre-mixed with indigo and chunk yellow, and then some chunk yellow I will use here, and then indigo chips. And the brushes I'm going to use, I'm using the lotus petal brush. You're welcome to use orchid bamboo. I might use two at the same time because then I don't have to rinse off the color. And then the leaves or the trunk, I'm using full lotus and some detail work with happy dot. And then I have two of these little brushes. One is I call flower bud brush. The other just a small fine soft brush. I'm using these two brushes to wash or blend colors. So if you have brushes, just anything soft. You don't want to use any hard hair brush because then that kind of scratch up the paper. So this is the markup I did before the today, and I don't know if mine is going to turn out like that, but this is similar. The other one I forgot to say. So I also have a white, which is very important. It's use Sakura white and as a base. So first, on the lotus petal brush. So you can use a very wet brush, or you can use very dry. So I will do both to have you seeing the differences. And so that's the thing that very different than the traditional xieyi style on the shrimp paper, and because usually it's very specifically the direction of the stroke and then how to load the brush. This is a little bit different. You can play around with it. So I have lotus petal brush, and then mixed with load with Sakura white, and then I will use a little bit blue on the tip, and I blend. So I will do the center of the flower. So you can see that this brush is very dry, The next one, I'm going to make it wetter. You can see the difference. So one goes from outside to inside, one kind of does a little bit from inside to outside. The difference between this and xieyi style, often we're talking about lower the bloom. In this one, that we actually always lifting the brush at the end. The reason that we lift the brush is that because if you leave your brush long enough on the paper, you're going to create a puddle. Then you have to resolve the puddle. You definitely can use the puddle towards your advantage, which in some cases I will show you how to do that. So this one now has a little puddle. Then I'm kind of fix it. So you can see at the end, I'm always lifting it up instead of letting it sit in there. So then I have little things on the top. Okay. And then in the middle, I'm going to use a little bit carmine. I rinse my brush off, make sure my carmine is clean. So then I start pulling this red into the blue to show the variation, which in the xieyi style you can do. And okay. Now I'm going to do the wing on this flower. So I'm rinsing my white off, and then I'm going to use the blue in the Kuretake set, and then 2 blues, maybe a little bit dark indigo. So you can see that I'm leaving some transparency. So now, this is the petal I'm talking about. Puddle. So I'm kind of pull it in. Okay, and then on the other side, and then this time I'm going to add a little bit dark purple. So I never let my brush stay on the paper too long. The blending brush also make sure it's not too wet, because then otherwise you'll make puddle after puddle. So semi-moist. All right. And then I'm going to use yellow, blend with a little vermilion, and blend. So you can see I'm using a lot of lifting action in here, which is quite different than the xieyi style. So accent with a little bit orange, so to show up more. So on here, there's some hard edges. So I'm going to go in with some purple. Okay, so then we'll do another flower on this side. This time I'm going to use the orchid bamboo, so I have a different color. Blue. Soften. So there are some mopping action here. And then I use a dry brush to soften, or toward the center. So I use another soft brush, add a little bit carmine red into here, to red. Okay, and then I'm going to use the lotus brush I had before to do the wings. Switch to blue. So I'm using the 3 blues on the Kuretake set. On this side, more blue. So in the middle, I'm softening it up. Okay, and then I have yellow with happy dot, little orange. Okay, then I have some white on the tip. Blue. And then on this side, I'm going to do a bud. So okay, and then I'm going to use my full lotus brush. And I load some chunk yellow. And then with my green, and mix. And I'm going to add a little bit red to soften it up. All right. And then I'm going to touch a little bit black on the Terasaki's palette. All right. So now I'm going to bring the branches toward the end of the round. In chunk yellow with a little bit green, and I add a little bit red to soften it up. Remember, keep on saying, make sure that you lift. Okay. Yellow, indigo. Then this time I'm going to use a little bit white on the tip and load yellow and green blend. So I'll do so you can see that I can add on this without any issues. If I on a xieyi style, I couldn't do it.
And largely how you're painting is driven by the sizing in the paper.
Right. So I'm going to add a little bit indigo and blue to kind of ground this thing up. Okay, and this is the finished piece. Hope to see you Friday at our virtual office hour.